Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast, where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And we are outdoors. If you're listening to this, you won't notice it, but we're outdoors in Brisbane today. And we're talking with Jamie Kegel, who is the Australian Resident Director of Rubber Stone Franchising. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. You were looking forward to doing this, weren't you?
Oh, so much.
So much. It'll be fine, I promise. It'll be fun. So Rubber Stone is new into the Australian market, but let's first talk about you're a well-established business. You've been going for over 35 years. Tell me a little bit about Rubber Stone, where it's from, what it's all about.
Rubber Stone was started by a family that used to be farmers in the middle of nowhere, Canada.
Yeah.
And they started doing resurfacing. And they found out how well it works in the climate over there. And they've grown the brand to well over 100 dealers across all of North America.
Yeah.
And they've started expanding out into a few different countries now.
So it's still a family business? Is that
It's still a family business.
Yeah.
The son has taken over from the father.
Yeah.
And he's running the show now.
And he's running the show.
Yeah.
Doing things his own way. I bet he is.
He is.
Yeah. So Canada. So what other countries? It's in a bunch of other countries, is it?
It's in a few. British Virgin Islands was the first one that they went out to.
Yeah.
We're growing here in Australia.
Yeah.
And there's a few others that are in the works right now.
Excellent. So what is Rubber Stone? What is the Rubber Stone product?
So the Rubber Stone is an option for resurfacing. It is a lot more flexible, given that it is rubber.
Yep.
So we can cover virtually any hard surface with it with very little prep. You can build it up so that you can cover large cracks. We don't have to do any repairs or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it'll last you a very, very long time.
Yeah. So it's new. You're new into the Australian market. How long have you been over here prepping all of this to get things up and running?
We came over here to begin with in 2019.
Yeah.
My partner and myself have been working all over Brisbane, getting that up and going. And now we've split Brisbane into two.
Yeah.
And we're expanding over the rest of Australia.
And you've already got a couple of franchise owners on board, you were saying?
We do, yeah.
Yep.
There's one in Melbourne and another up in Mackay.
Okay,
They've been doing a
well,
fair
you've
amount of
spread
work.
them. You've certainly spread them. Were you aware that was how far apart they were? Yeah.
You never know when they're going to come up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have some other ones that are starting up or that we're looking at right now to take over other areas.
Excellent. So what are the differences? So what are the options for resurfacing? So you've got the Rubber Stone option. So what other options, say, would Australian people be using for resurfacing that you're finding in the clients that you're working with? Because I forgot to say, we've some lovely clients of yours have let us film a podcast at their house today while you've got work happening in the background. I even forgot that was happening behind us right now. So what sort of products are you sort of replacing or giving other options of people that they would have traditionally been using, say, in this marketplace?
Probably the most popular would be Covercrete, which is a hard, thin layer of concrete.
Yep.
Comes in different colors and stuff, but always the disadvantage of these products is that it doesn't take any movement.
Yeah.
The slightest little hairline crack in your surface and it'll crack the product and they're not able to repair it.
Yeah. So is that like, so in my garage or whatever I've got, that would be like an epoxy sort of thing or whatever like that? So in my garage I've got cracks and everything there, and is that the type of stuff you're talking about? Is it painted on or something?
It's similar.
Yeah.
The flake flooring that you see in the garages and stuff is an epoxy, so it's also brittle as well.
Yeah.
With garages, you get problems with hot tire pickup and discoloration stuff with the epoxies.
Yes.
Whereas you don't with us. You can get some discoloration, but we don't have any problems with hot tire pickup.
Yeah. Okay. And the other option, I suppose, is people are tiling or just polishing concrete or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which can get slippery. They can still break. They need a very flat surface to go over top of.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, and when customers, and these customers that were here today now, they've done it before, haven't they? So what options are people telling you that they're liking about it and that sort of stuff? So what are the key uses of it that you're finding? So this is around a pool, but you do anywhere, don't you?
Yeah, we do anywhere. We can do stairs, patios. The main benefits, especially around a pool, is you always have great traction.
Yep.
The water goes right through it, so there's no slipping and falling. If you drop a glass, it's not going to break. So you have that safety advantage going around a pool. It also doesn't hold heat, so it's going to stay a lot cooler especially than like terracotta tile, which is what's behind us.
Yeah, I can imagine that you wouldn't on a hot day, and I can imagine you'd be finding a few things out, wouldn't you? Coming from Canada to Australia in the heat, how are you finding that heat difference as far as people's use of that? So tiles very hot, aren't they? Running on those.
Yes, yeah. They can be very, very hot. We have this at our place, so we've been testing it and checking out the different heat differences and stuff like that. And it does make a huge difference, especially the lighter colors. So most of our blends are going to be lighter colored rubber mixed in, whether you go with the stones or straight rubber.
And you're also, there's a little bit of environmental aspect. You're reusing tyres as well, aren't you? So it's not less tyres for landfill and things like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Not so much with patios and stuff because we don't use the black, but we're still saving them from having to rip all these tiles up and chuck them in the landfill. Yeah,
because so tell me about how it works. So you prep this area. So how do you prep it? So can you talk us through in like 30 seconds, talk us through how it works when a franchise partner, for example, is laying rubber stone in an environment like this over tiles?
Generally, all we have to do is power wash.
Yep.
There is a couple
areas.
That's
a high pressure hose or something, is it?
Yep. 3,000 PSI. There's a couple areas here that they filled in with concrete where the tiles were missing just so that they have the level surface and the water can still run off.
Yeah.
But normally all you have to do is power wash it.
Yeah.
It bonds that well.
And then what's the steps from there? So how do you prepare the rubber stone and everything? How do you prepare your product to go? How does it work from there?
When we show up on site, we pre-coat all the existing tiles or whatever surface we're covering with a mixture of the binder that we use to glue it all together so it's bonded to the surface. And then we have a great big mixer that we mix everything dry crumb with the binder, and then it's all troweled out by hand.
Yeah, so trowel, and we can sort of see that behind. Depending on what camera is actually focused right now, that's all happening behind. And so what are the most common areas that you're doing? Is it mainly pools, or like what sort of applications does the product have for someone who's looking at this as, say, a business option? What applications in the marketplace have they got to pitch to homeowners to where they're using it?
I'd say pools is definitely the most popular.
Yep.
Patios, probably second. It does have some sound dampening effects and stuff. So when you're dragging furniture,
I suppose because of that rubber component, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps it a little bit quieter. Basically, any outdoor surface. We can do driveways. We have different options for driveways, garages, basically any hard surface outdoors.
Excellent. And what have you found in your experience in the Canadian market and even to over here, residential v commercial? There's a lot of commercial applications as well being used for it, so rather than residential, or what sort of split do you normally find with corporates using it as opposed to homes?
Over here, we're getting into aged care homes. We've done resorts, community pools. It's all a great surfacing option. We can do very large areas with very little downtime. So it's quite advantageous for a hotel to get us in there to do the pool because they only have to shut down for a day or two.
As opposed to weeks when they're doing tiles. Isn't that awesome when you turn up to a hotel and you go, let's jump in the pool, and they go, sorry, the pool's out of action.
Yep.
Yeah, no, so you save that problem. Now, if the family's been in for 35 years, I'm sure they've developed a lot of tech. I've spoken to a number of franchisors over the years who sort of started particular niches of certain industries with technology. What about the support in technology development and everything? So I'm sure you're not using the same stuff they were using 35 years ago. How does that all work? Where does the development happen for all of the stuff that you use?
So the head office is still in Saskatchewan in Canada. They have a UV testing machine. So they're doing all kinds of tests to see how fast the binders burn off, how often it's going to need to be recoated, how long the color lasts in the rubber, different temperatures for the binders, what the cure speed's going to be depending on the temperature, if you should be using the higher viscosity binders depending on the weather, and because you want that 24-hour dry time.
Yep. So that's how long it takes when you do the job? Yeah. Yep.
24 hours to dry and then a week for full cure.
Yep.
So you want to be hitting those marks.
And have there been many challenges in trying to figure that sort of stuff out and testing that for the Australian market? Because we were talking off air. You're fantastic with the because of the ice surfaces and everything like that, you end up there. And there's been a little bit of a difference that you've been learning as you're going with the Australian heat. So they would have done a lot of testing for the Australian heat conditions. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we've done quite a bit of testing ourselves
Yeah, I
since
bet you have.
2019.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you can get temperature spikes here and stuff. So
Yeah.
we've been using the higher heat binders and stuff like that to prevent that.
Yep.
You need to make sure that you're using the right binder for the weather that you're having. The gentleman that we have up in Mackay, he's going to be pretty much all the high heat ones.
Yeah, he's a great test. Yeah, excellent.
Because there is some differences, but we've worked to mitigate all of those. So
Yeah.
when we're training everybody, we will teach them all the techniques and stuff that we use to avoid problems.
Yeah, well, you've had 5 years in the market now, so you've certainly been through all those humps, no doubt.
Yeah.
So what's training like? So what sort of training does a person get? And what type of person is normally coming to be a franchise partner or inquiring about it?
Usually if they have like a landscape background, rendering, it might be helpful. But realistically, it's anything that you can learn. I
Yep.
did a completely different career before I came into
Oh, you
this.
did you? Yeah, yeah.
And I think most of the people that I know have as well.
Yeah.
But so we're not really looking for anything specific, but
So
it's
you don't
good
need
if you
any
have
specific skills or anything. You can be taught everything.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you have like a landscaping background or something, it might help.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it'll give you that base. You're already at the person's house. You now just have another solution to offer for them.
Oh, okay, so you're almost adding on another. So a landscaper, for example, could add on rubber stone as another service or another product offer to what they already do.
Yeah, most definitely. Our
Excellent.
gentleman in Melbourne is a landscaper.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I didn't know that actually. I didn't know that before. I know we've spoken before, but I didn't know that. So the training, what sort of training time frame is it everything to get someone ready to be able to effectively operate a business for it?
We want to see for a minimum of a week. You would come up and work with myself and my partner here in Brisbane. We try to cover all the different things that you can do with a rubber. So we'd probably try to be doing a pool, trying to do pool coping, some stairs, basically anything that we can think to throw at you to give you all the different methods and stuff that we use. And then we want to cover how to order materials, how to calculate how much you need for the job, what type of files you should be keeping on clients and stuff, because it is a repairable product. So I have extensive files on every client that we've installed at so that
Yeah.
I know how I can fix it if I ever have to fix
If
it.
there's ever a problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good to have that backup, isn't it? I'm sure for the customer
Yeah.
peace of mind as well. Yeah. And so for what sort of, and I know you know from the Canadian market, when supporting franchise partners, what sort of problems normally pop up? Like what sort of calls do you get saying, hey, is it like questions like, how do I do this? Or I've got a particular problem. Is there anything that generally tends to, like a common thread you find that you're mainly giving support in once they're out on the road?
Probably, I think the first time you ever have to fix anything to do with the rubber,
Yep.
say somebody's replaced a pool fence and now you got to go in and repair a hole. A lot
Yeah.
of people are very concerned that it's going to show
Yeah.
and you're really going to see it and everything. So we teach you all of that, how to repair something. And as soon as you see us repair it, it's absolutely seamless. You
Excellent.
can't even see it. So
Excellent.
we try to do stuff like that. I think that would be
That's the main one.
yeah.
Well, that's good to know. So what sort of areas, what's your key growth area at the moment? So you've got Brisbane, you've got the amazing spread of Mackay and Melbourne at the moment for franchise partners, which I wouldn't have advised. But what's your key area of growth that you're looking at for Australian market initially?
I think Sydney, we've done some work ourselves down there
Mhm.
already. So there is a bit of a client base down there and there is definitely the market for it.
Yeah.
So I would like to see somebody in Sydney. I know the one in Melbourne would like another one in Melbourne.
They need some help, do they? There's quite a bit of work down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He gets quite a bit of work. So he'd love to see somebody else down there that he can partner with.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we work very closely with the different franchisees. James and myself have gone up to Mackay a couple times to help them out on jobs. If they're too big, he's going to come and help us up in Cairns
Yep.
in a couple months.
Got a big job up there or something, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't want to drive.
No, you don't drive, you're going to fly up there. Yes. Good luck getting all your gear through underneath the plane and everything like that. Oh, we do that all the time with all our camera gear, and it's a challenge. Excellent. All right. So that's the rubber stone business in Australia. I look forward to, no doubt we'll have plenty to do with each other over the coming months and years. And thanks again for organising this with this lovely homeowner here for helping us film here. And I appreciate your time, Jamie, and telling us more about the rubber stone business.
Thank you.
Excellent. And that's it for another one of the Franchise Everything podcast. If you like this sort of stuff, go on, please share, like, subscribe, do all that sort of thing. It helps get this sort of information out there for other people who may be interested. And we will catch you in the next one very soon.